share the different file. Okay. Let me just check if there's anyone. Okay, we are all here. Now, like I said, I'll strive not to do a lot of theories and do much more on the practical aspect of why we are here. Now, when we are doing economic research, okay, there are two things that we need to take into consideration, right? Number one, we have to be objective, and number two, we have to be systematic, okay? So when we talk about us performing an economic research, we are looking at the objective and systematic investigation and analysis of economic phenomena. What does that mean? What does that mean when we say objective? Let me just talk about the objectivity here. Mr. Chilala.
So on objectivity, we are focusing on making sure that the economic research does not rely on opinion or normative assumptions, but rather on evidence that is actually based on observation and data driven.
Exactly.
My quick
exactly. So there are a few things that you've mentioned there that are really important there. We are talking about something free of opinion, okay? That's number one, okay? Number two, data driven, okay? Everything that we're going to do in our research papers is going to be opinion free and data driven. Now, on the aspect of opinion, really in research, as we go on, actually there are two models that we can look at in terms of that aspect. In research, there's a thin line between being opinion driven research and objectivity driven research. There's a thin line actually. Okay, how do you separate the two? It's something that we're going to actually look at. But the main idea is that we need to have a situation where our opinion doesn't matter, but the facts should speak for themselves, okay? So objectivity in economic research, we are talking about the aspect that research findings should be based on facts, number one, and evidence rather than biases or opinions. Now, this is a critical aspect in economic research. Why is it? Because it helps us to ensure that whatever we conclude, okay, whatever conclusions that we derive from our research is accurate, okay, is reliable and free from influence, okay, free from influence. That is important. That's why our researchers should be objective. When we talk about the systematic aspect, okay, when we talk about the systematic aspect, we are talking about us following a set of rules in us doing or performing economic research, including the data and analysis itself, okay? So when we talk about objectivity, we're talking about us doing research free from personal biases, free from opinions, okay, free from opinions. Why? Because we need to make sure that our results are reliable, our results are accurate and free from our own personal influence. That is what we are doing. So when we talk about economic research here, is simply the objective and systematic investigation and analysis of economic data. So this one, as we might know, it will be conducted at different levels. Okay, it will be conducted at different levels. Okay, so here we're being told. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, we can conduct this economic research at different levels. Okay, what do we mean? What research you pick will depend on the level that you're looking at it in terms of. Are you looking at it in terms of household level? Okay, are you looking at it in terms of a firm's level? You're looking at it in terms of a macroeconomic level. Okay, of course, at a macroeconomic level, we'll include things such as even the international aspect of things. So it can be looked at different levels. And then when we are conducting for academic purposes, okay, government agencies, think tanks, private sectors, as well as just general analysis. Okay, that's what we would do now. The research process itself. Okay, the first thing that you need to do. Okay, I think there's one process that is missing here. Let me just indicate it here. I can still indicate it here. All right. That is problem identification. Okay, problem identification. That's the first thing that you need to look at. Okay, problem identification. Now, what is this problem? When you come up with a topic, that in itself is a problem that you are trying to study. Okay, for example, if I came up with a study to deal with say government health expenditure, the influence of the impact of government health expenditure on health outcomes. All right, so that in itself, I'm trying to look at a problem on how government health expenditure will have an influence on the health outcomes. When we talk about health outcomes, we're talking about different things here. Okay, is it on corona, for example, on the coronavirus, or the prevalence of corona, for example, the influence of government's health expenditure on the prevalence of corona, for example, or the influence of government health expenditure on say the infant mortality rate in Zambia. I'm looking at from a period, say 2000 to 2020, for example. Okay, so that in itself, okay, becomes a problem. Now, when I identify my area of, the problem I want to do a study on, the second thing that needs to be done is to do a review, okay, on literature around my problem. Okay, I'll look at researches that people have done. Okay, I'll look at researches that people have done on the particular topics. What were the findings, and then try to identify a gap. Okay, identify gaps in the research. Okay, so I'll keep on doing reviewing of the literature until I have questions from the research. From the preliminary research on literature that I have done. Okay, so the research questions will come up as a result of a lot of literature review around the same topic. Okay, so you have to define the research question. Okay, you have to identify the research problem, which is the beginning of the research itself, a very important step. Okay, so what will it involve? This will involve identifying variables. Okay, identifying variables. Okay, identifying the economic variables, of course. Okay, identifying the variables, and then identifying how they actually relate to each other. So the first thing. Okay. Sorry about that. My apologies. Okay. All right. Where was I? Um, okay. Yeah. So what I was saying is the first important thing that needs to be done is for the problem identification. Okay, where you're going to identify variables. Okay, the variables that are relevant variables. Okay, this is important. Relevant variables, relevant to your research. Okay, relevant to your research, and the relationship between them. Okay, and the relationship between them. Okay, that's the first thing. And then you're going to do an extensive literature review. Okay, you're going to um, do an extensive literature review on your problem. Okay, on your problem. Of course, taking for granted that many other people have done this research before. Okay, now there are those people that say, no, this topic hasn't been done before. No, every topic has been done in some form. Okay, we call research as cyclical. Okay, research is cyclical. I think we'll identify what we mean by this point. Um, it might not be the exact topic framed the same way you'd want it to be framed, but it might have been tackled in one form or another. Okay, that is that. So when we do a problem identification, we have to also do an extensive literature on the same topic that you've picked. Okay, after you identify the variables, identify the problem, do your literature review. It's from the literature review, like I said, that you're going to formulate questions. Okay, how? Because in your literature review, you're going to be identifying gaps. Okay, you're going to be identifying gaps, and you're going to be you're going to be identifying gaps, and it is from those gaps that you're going to actually formulate research questions, or let me say research objectives. Okay, after you identify the gaps in your literature review. Now I know in your mind you are asking, isn't it that the second thing that the literature review is the second thing that needs to be done before that? Now that's the format. Okay, that's the format. I'm not talking about the format, but the actual research process, how it's begun, and how you make it easier for yourself. All right, so you identify the problem, do literature review, and identify gaps in the literature review. What are the things that the researcher didn't address in their in their in their research? Okay, this could be on many things. Okay, it could be you looking at it in the case of variables itself, the variables used. Okay, how important are they in measuring a dependent variable, or how important is it in your research? Okay, on the independent side, I'll expand this in case there are those that don't understand what I'm talking about, right? So it could be in terms of variables, it could be in terms of the processes. Okay, it could be in terms of the processes. What do I mean? Processes and procedures, rather, in the research, in the research methodology. Okay, the variables used, number one, research processes, research procedure. Was it important, or was it how do I put this? Was it relevant or necessary to use a certain research process in trying to study the variables under question, for example? Okay, that is that. Or just maybe some of the missing information. You're looking for missing information. Okay, missing information in the research. That's just an example of how you're going to be identifying gaps. These are simple ways on how you're going to be identifying gaps. So number one, identify the problem. Number two, review literature. Before you even come up with the research proposal, you have to review a lot of literature, okay? And then from formulating question, you have to now select an appropriate research design. Okay, we'll talk about these because these are very important. The research design is very important in research. Now, when you talk about research design, as we will see, it's just a set of rules on how you're going to conduct your research. Okay, on how you're going to conduct your research. Now, those rules should be relevant to your research topic. Okay, should be relevant to your research topic. I think I'll expand this more as we go. Okay, but that's how it goes. So when you formulate questions from the research gaps, you will now do an appropriate research design that will tell you on how you're going to go about your research and how you're going to collect your data. And then from there, you're going to collect your data. You're going to do your data analysis and then interpreting and then publishing. That's going to be your research procedure. That's going to be your research procedure. Are we following?
Yes, sir, we are following.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Questions, additions, subtractions? Hello? Hello?
So I think I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay, is learning taking place? So maybe I'm just making noise.
Learning
It
is
is
taking
taking shape,
place.
sir.
Okay.
We are getting the idea. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so that's in brief the research procedure. Okay, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That's the research procedure. Okay, that's the research procedure. Now, maybe before I move, in terms of data collection, this one is very important. Research design and data collection. Okay, no, I'll leave it for the next stage. I think I'll come and explain some of these details. I'll give examples. I think I'll give examples. I won't leave it on theory, like I said. I'll give examples, okay, on when you use certain research designs, when you use such certain research or data collection tools. Okay, so this will indicate things like sampling, okay, sampling, data collection, okay, and okay, and so on and so forth. We'll pick this. Okay. All right. So now, for those that are still struggling, how do you actually choose a research topic? Okay. Maybe somebody can share before we can actually move. Maybe somebody can share.
Yes, number one, we can look at the area of interest. So in this case, we are talking about economics. As doing economics, we have to go for something that is quantitative.
Okay. Others?
Yes.
I think another way is also to assess if there's a discrepancy in an area of interest, and then you like to find out
Sorry?
what could be the factors.
Okay, I didn't get that. Sorry, your line was breaking.
I was saying another way is to look at if of the situation has got a discrepancy and would like to investigate as to what could be the factors contributing to that discrepancy, trying to explain the situation.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's a good one. One more submission. Okay, yes. One more submission.
We can also look at the availability of the data that with which we are interested to study.
Exactly. Okay. Now, this is, I think for a researcher, this is one of the most challenging area. Okay. The first thing to do is, one of the most challenging thing to do is actually identifying the topic to do. Now, like somebody mentioned just now, the first thing that you need to do is identify your research interest. Okay. Now, it might not be your research interest per se in terms of you doing a research. I don't know if somebody picks that up, but maybe even your area of your interest. For example, in economics, we've got different bodies of economics, not so. We've got monetary economics, we've got health economics, we've got industrial economics, and so many other branches. So maybe my area of interest is in industrial economics. That should give me a starting point on what I could research on. Are you getting the picture here?
Sure, sir.
So
sure.
it should be something
Yes.
that will really be of interest to you. One of the most important thing I keep telling students is that when we are choosing a topic, choose something that will be easy for you. Now, it will be easy for you if you have an interest in that particular area that you would want to research. Otherwise, it will be just another academic exercise. But if it interests you, even the results will show. Even the way you do your work, I think it will be easy. It will become easy for you, and you know what you are looking for in your work, as opposed to choosing just something out of the blues. So first of all, you have to identify what really interests you in the body of knowledge of economics, right? That's the first thing. And then in that body of economics, what interests you still? That's another question you ask yourself. If I'm interested in industrial economics, for example, what interests me in industrial economics? Is it mergers and acquisitions, right? Is it things to do with the oligopolistic market structure? Is it, I think you should be able to get the picture from that explanation. So you need to start by brainstorming topics that will interest you, that you are passionate about. Okay, because if you're passionate about something, it will be easier for you to do. Okay, so consider maybe your previous coursework that we've done before. Okay, your personal experience. Okay, or the current events around your community or around the economy. Okay, if they spark your interest, pick those. Okay, so the most important thing, this is key. You have to identify that thing that interests you. Okay, that's number one. Okay, and then you need to narrow down. You need to review the existing literature on that. Before that, I think from this point we can say and narrow it down. And this is based on what we've just explained. Industrial economics is my area of interest. What exactly in industrial economics am I going to look at? Okay, is it competition? Okay, is it competition regulatory policy? What am I interested in? Okay, those are the things. So you need to narrow it down. Okay, you need to narrow it down. And actually, after you narrow it down, you could come up with certain areas that you could look at within your now area of interest. Okay, within your now area of interest. Okay. Yeah. So that's that. So you need to narrow down your interest, and then the narrow down your interest and focus. Okay. Narrow down your interest and focus. Okay. So then review existing literature. Remember, this one will coincide with what we've just talked about in the previous case. I'm sure you're able to see that. Okay, problem identification. This is step one, is just problem identification. Okay, basically it's just problem identification, and then you're going to do a lot of review of literature. Okay, but that will be before you even finalize. Okay, before you even finalize, you do a preliminary study, okay, of literature. Is it on the same competition policy? You do a bit of literature on competition policy. Okay, you do a bit of literature in literature review, sorry, in competition policy, even before you finalize your topic. So you conduct a literature review to see what research has been done, okay, on your topic. Okay, this will help you in identifying many gaps. Like I said in the previous case, it will help you in identifying many gaps in the literature that you review, and then you look at the potential areas for research. Okay, you look at potential areas for research after that. So review existing literature even before you can actually finalize your research topic. Okay, that is your second step. This is where now you're going to consult your supervisor, Mr. Kavuvi. I don't know if he's your supervisor for every one of you. I don't know, but that's what you're going to do. You're going to consult. Please don't just consult in terms of the topics that I've chosen. Okay, I've chosen the topics A, B, C, D. You need to also explain why you're choosing that topic and that some of the areas. Sometimes your supervisor may be too busy. They will just come up with excuses to say, okay, this topic is not economics related. Why? Because they don't know, right? They don't know what exactly you're looking at. For example, if I choose to look at the influence of what's that? What example can I give? Say food security policy, for example, in Zambia, the influence of food security policy on productivity, for example. On face value, somebody who's not really from the economics field would think this is not an economics topic. Okay, so the best that you can do is really explain why you're picking that and what economic concepts you're looking at in that particular case. I heard one of you say you were told to say it's not an economic concept topic. Maybe it's not true that it's not an economic topic. So it's up to you really to explain further why that should stand. We've got, like I said, we've got different bodies of knowledge within economics. Others, we have health economics, we have capital budgeting or project economics. We have so many bodies of knowledge. So if you pick out, say, for example, from health economics, the influence of government health expenditure on health outcomes, on infant mortality, one who does not really know our body of knowledge properly won't be able to tell the economics side of things, unfortunately. So you need to consult as well as advise or clearly explain why you chose that particular topic. So you're going to consult your advisor or mentor to discuss your research topic ideas and so forth. So you're going to be giving back and forth information. There's going to be feedback. So be flexible enough to also adjust basing on your advisor, okay? Because sometimes, let me say, we need not be rigid, okay? Too rigid, except you need to prove a point on why you chose that topic. But there'll be certain things that the advisor will bring up that might be of interest to you, or that might be something that will collect or correct rather your research area. Okay, that will correct your research area. So consult your supervisor or your advisor. It's very important. And then also you need to consider resources available. Now, resources available, this could be time. It could be things to do with uh, 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 money itself. Okay, it could be also things to do with your scope, or in terms of your area or your target region of study. Okay, do you have enough time? Do you have enough resources? Do you have enough manpower to cover your scope? These are some of the important things that need to determine your research topic as well. Okay, these are the things that somehow need to determine your research topic. Your time, for example, if I know, like the academic research we are doing right now, we know we have to cover it within now the next, is it 9 months? Is it 8 months? We need to cover it within the next 8 months. Now, the topic that you choose should be one that should be able to cover within 8 months or less. Okay, 8 months or less. Okay, that's one of the things. Now you also need to look at your pockets. Are you able to cover the scope, to cover the area in your area of research, to print enough questionnaires, to print enough interview guides? Those are some of the things that you need to take into consideration. It's no wonder in your research proposal, one of the segments is on your Gantt chart and your budget. Okay, this is why. Okay, this is why. Okay, this is why. Now, evaluate the potential impact. This is to say your topic should be relevant to the current times, and it should be something that will bring about a change in one way or another. Are we there?
Sure, sir, sure.
Yes, it should be something that should be able to bring change in one way or another. So you need to consider or evaluate the potential impact of your research. Okay. Now, refine your topic, refine your research question. Now, once you are done with all these, once you've considered all these necessaries, you can now then refine your topic to suit all these, okay? To suit all the 5. Okay? So once you have a general idea of what you want to do, okay, of your research topic, you're going to refine it into a specific research question, okay? And then this will then help guide your research and also ensure that your study has a clear purpose, right? It will establish that for you. Okay, so these are the things that you will consider. Then you are going to refine your topic based on your area of interest, based on the current literature. I mean, the literature that you've reviewed, based on your consultation with your supervisor, based on your available resources, time, money, and all that, and then the relevance to society, your immediate society. Then you are going to refine your topic. Now, when doing your literature review, please look at current literature. Okay, look at current literature. Okay. Now, for me, I usually advise going 10 to 15 years back. So I'm in 2023, right? If I'm going to do a research, I'm going to have to look at the studies that have been done in the last 15 years. Why? Because economic systems are dynamic. Okay? Economic systems are what? Are dynamic. So what was true 50 years ago is not true now. You get the sense? So it's not really that it's a standard procedure, but this one helps you avoid a lot of conceptual pitfalls. Okay, it helps you avoid a lot of conceptual pitfalls. Why? Because now you'll be looking at current data, current information. Okay, so when you're doing your literature review, please stick to something that is close to time than further away from time. Are we clear there?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah, that is what you need to do. Okay, so that's how you actually choose a research topic. Now there are a lot of research topics that I could give as examples, but these are some of them that we can think of. The effect of price collusion on market outcomes, the effect of market entry barriers on industrial performance. Okay, the impact, maybe this, okay, if you've noticed, these two are from the, say, industrial organization or industrial economics. Okay, industrial economics body of knowledge. Okay, you can look at such things. Then under environmental economics, okay, you can look at such things. The impact of environmental regulations on firms and consumers. Okay, this is also environmental economics. Okay, these are some of the examples of economic research topics that you can actually pick out. Okay, yeah, for today, I think for today, this is enough since we're just beginning. Any questions, any contributions?
We just want to thank you, sir, for highlighting those key interesting aspects. Of course, we want to make cognizant that sometimes the topics that we presented, some of them were rejected with the precept of saying they've already been researched. But then we appreciate that you've highlighted that sometimes it's about understanding the body of knowledge and the angle at which presentation is done, as well as the conviction behind why the choice of the topic. And we appreciate highlighting all those key areas that help us to understand the whole entire process or the methodology behind the choice of the topic. Thank you, sir.
All right. Welcome. It's good to know you are following. You've picked out one or two things. Thank you. Any other?